So if you didn't know this already, my co-host Alana is more than the producer of this show. She's also produced and written for a lot of America the Podcast Presents content. She's written for the ATP social media pages, as well as the American Revolution and Road Trip series. And yes, this is both a way for me to brag about how good of a producer and comedian she is, as well as shamelessly promoting my other political comedy shows. The links to all of them are in the description to every episode of this show. There's also one other thing I love about Alana, and that's Alana herself. That's right, she's my spouse and partner and all things crime related. All things legal, too. Now, we didn't get married in a normal way because Texas has some weird common law marriage laws that we'll get into in this episode. So why am I talking about marriage? Well, that's because our dear friend George Santos also heard wedding bells once. Or twice. Or not at all. We're not really sure. Don't worry, we'll get into it tonight on I Do Not Trust This Person, The Many Lies of Congressperson George Santos.
So one thing that's always fascinated me about living in Texas is the idea, and I think this is the case in other states too, but specifically here. And I just found out it is not a 5-year requirement, as I've been told throughout my life, but common law marriage.
Mhm,
It's like how we're married.
mhm.
Like we've been, together for 12, 13 years almost, and living together for that same amount of time and identifying as husband and wife, just doing that, which legally marries us
Mhm.
in Texas. I find that so, like, for such a state that's so religious
And it's
too,
and it's
like,
after not that long.
no, there is no requirement.
Oh, there's no minimum?
I just looked it up before we started, like, because I was like, yeah, it's like a 5-year minimum. I've always been told that, like, and everybody's just talking out their ass, like,
I
but
thought there was a
this,
minimum as well.
no,
Nothing?
it's no minimum. It says Texas
Huh.
law does not require a minimum. So like you can just basically identify yourselves as, spouses in front of your friends, and that's it.
Interesting.
Basically, like the requirements are, what were the requirements specifically? That you agree to be married, to live together as husband and wife, or spouses for, people that didn't write these laws 100 years ago. Represent, and then 3, represent to others in Texas that they are husband and wife,
Mm.
married, which is often referred to as holding out to others that you are husband and wife. All 3 elements must exist at the same time, to establish to establish a common law marriage. So we just have to go up to, like,
You just have to live as as a couple
as a
that is
couple,
married.
and say and tell your friends at the same time,
We
like, just
feel
go up
like we're
to
married.
basically go up to your sister and say, hey, we're married. Like, that's all it really ever
And
took.
that's it.
Yep. Like, which baffles me. Like, it's such a religious state. Like, you think, like, no, you have to be in a church no matter what. You
Yeah.
have to be man and woman. Like, if it not for the federal government, I would think that absolutely that would have been
I
the
wonder
case.
what
It's
the
so weird.
benefits are
Different.
versus
I don't know. Like, they
you can't you can't
file
file
jointly,
taxes
right?
jointly if
Yeah.
you're in a common law marriage. I don't
I don't
think.
think, yeah,
Maybe you can.
maybe you can,
That's a
but
whole nother episode of
yeah,
some other
and
show.
you guys definitely want to hear a show about taxes, and how to file as a common
Look,
law married couple. I'm sure
we
Legal
might.
Eagles got a cool video on that. But yeah, you'd think it'd be different here. Like, they're so up their own ass about every little religious freedom thing, and then you're like, but you're just like laissez-faire on marriages, like, as long as it's not dudes or girls getting married together, like
There's so much in this
like, just
state
say you're
that
married and you're
it
fine.
contradicts
Like,
though,
I know
So it's not that surprising, I feel like.
it's like you can't, like, braid your hair or eat shellfish in the Bible or something like that, yet, I like shellfish, and sometimes I've braided my hair because it's long and
Well,
I'm bored, and I know how to do that.
there you
Not a
go.
fishtail. Not, I don't understand the way to do that. You've never showed me. That's on
I
you.
don't think I know how to do a fishtail. I think I've tried. It's not. No. No, I don't know how to do a fishtail. I know how to do a French braid.
Oh yeah, I don't know how to do that either. I
But
just
I
know how
don't
to
know how to
normal
do
braid. I know how to do a
fishtail.
braid just because of making ropes. I don't know. This is super interesting.
Back
Back to marriages though.
marriages.
Yeah, so we've been, I guess, married for 11 years then, if that's the case. So good job, Texas. Thanks, I guess. But you can't like what happens if like one of us dies? You know what I mean? Like aside from the will that we make, like
Which we don't have.
which we don't have, we should definitely everybody should get a will. The world's terrible, and we should probably get one. But like the whole benefits thing of like passing on to anybody was always an issue before like marriage equality was that passed, like let alone like how in the hell are we going to do it with a common law marriage? I don't know. Like Texas, you're backwards. You're just a backwards place. But
Or are they progressive in that way?
or they yeah, like to me it sounds like a very libertarian thing. Like you're married, done. Like that fine. Like
Just
that's
lazy.
yeah, like
Just
without
get it over with.
documentation, like how do you divorce? There's something here to how to do divorce, but why not? There is no such thing as common law divorce. Okay, so you can't divorce. It's just kind of a breakup, I guess. And the separating or living apart in the common law marriage is not the same thing as a divorce. Wow, so it gets real complicated. Whatever. But I will say to get to the story of why I'm even talking about weirdness of the patriarchal marriage system
Mm-hmm.
uh is our good friend George. He's been allegedly married. Well, no, literally. He has literally been married. On his campaign website, when he was still going, he said he was married to some man. He was, running as the first going to be the openly gay Republican, all that stuff. One showed up, scandalous as this is, to work on his first day without a wedding ring on. And then I believe that any mention of his husband was scrubbed from his campaign website. Like he said that they
Showed up to
lived
work where for his first day
at Congress.
Oh.
Like he showed up on his first day of Congress and no wedding ring. But his campaign said he lived in, I think he said Long Island, with his husband and their 4 dogs.
Okay.
And no one can find any sort of any evidence of that.
Does he wear a wedding ring now?
I haven't seen one on him, and I know nobody's brought this up. This one has got so buried since then, like it's hard to really find anything on it because so many other lies were said. Apparently,
but he claims that he's currently married.
He claims he is, and I think he actually is, but just no one can find out who the hell his husband is, or at least I've not been able to find out through the research I've been doing. But the other thing was that aside from this marriage that may or may not exist, unclear. Like let's go on a journey for a second because this got confusing. I almost wanted to wait to record this so I could wrap my head around it more, but I think I've got it. If I don't, well, then okay. But George was married to a woman for 7 years and divorced in 2019.
Right.
Right before he, I think, filed to run for Congress.
Okay.
And then apparently 5 years before that divorce, he announced his engagement to a man. So like there's record of him being married for 7 years, but then 5 years before he's divorced, he alleges that he is engaged to a man named Pedro Villarva, and who he and a man who I think is George's old roommate named Greg Maury Parker confirmed that he was trying to plan an engagement party. And here is the Facebook invite, the text of the Facebook invite for this engagement. That and I'll get to the engagement in a second. But I'll read through this. Good evening, everyone. As all of you may already know, Pedro and I have decided to join our toothbrushes, LOL, and a very few friends have been selected to share this special moment with us. Then it goes on to say that I hope to see everyone of you there and be sharp and make it count. I know there was no time for a written invitation, but thanks to Facebook, everyone has a whole week's notice. LMAO, for all of you that know me, I can suck on timing. Thanks for sharing this very important day in our lives. See you there. Now, that engagement party did not happen because Pedro, his words, he asked me 3 times and I didn't accept it. There was never a party or anything in regards to it. So this engagement never happened. Because
who posted that?
George sent out the
invitation?
Facebook invite to his friends.
That's confusing.
Exactly. So he's claiming that he is, again, while legally at least, whether or not he like it was some sort of marriage of convenience. I don't know why he was married to this woman. I couldn't find out who the hell she was or like if their marriage was happy. Like what is this? But he was announcing his engagement to this guy, like were they about to he and his wife about to get divorced, and it just didn't happen, and they reconciled for 5 more years. Again, you can't find anything on it because it's so many lies deep that it gets confusing.
That he asked me and I said no.
Pedro said that George asked him 3 times and but he never accepted the engagement proposal.
This is interesting.
Okay.
Apparently in February of this year, a former federal prosecutor filed complaints with the House Ethics Committee asking that his marriage be investigated as a possible green card marriage.
Oh.
Entered into so that his wife might gain legal residence in the U.S.
Oh, see, I hadn't thought about that, but I'm like, do people still do that? I'm like,
oh yeah,
I guess they do.
There's multiple reports that Santos lived apart from his wife in relationships with multiple men. So apparently he had been in relationships with men the entire time while he was married.
Oh, okay.
And it's
potentially a green card marriage.
Marriage.
Interesting. Okay.
And yes, in 2020 he stated he was living with a man who he refers to as his husband, but there's no other There's no other references.
There's no other reference and
citations to that,
and we can't find out who he is. Like he claimed to be like I said, he claimed to be married, but showed up to Congress without any sort of ring on. And it's this engagement party was supposed to take place on November 23rd I don't have the year, but 2014. Sorry, November 23rd, 2014, at Le Bon Soup in Manhattan. Shout out to y'all. I hope the show does great advertisement for you. So that they oh shoot! Federal findings showed that 7 years later, Santos's campaign committee had spent a combined $1,800 at that restaurant, a block away from Trump Tower. So yeah, maybe
so we've probably walked past it,
but he's also like
NYC.
We'll get to his money later in this series. His money stuff is a bit confusing, but it is
the thing
kind of nutty.
Here's where he may be screwed on the marriage thing.
Oh yeah,
is that he claims that he has been like out and gay for over a decade.
Sure.
And that he has never had any issues with that. He's always been very like clear about his sexuality. So then how is he going to convince the ethics committee that his marriage was legitimate?
I don't know. Like,
seems like
he said, like, I know one of the things he said was like, people change. I changed. I'm like, yeah, but if you were like, I don't know, like, then that could have been they could have had an open marriage. Who knows? Like, that's lots of people do. There's no shame in that.
Yeah, no,
like,
I mean,
but this stinks of not bad.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
There's no issues with if you're married to a woman, then you want to get divorced. You finally, come out and you realize, hey, I'm gay, whatever, like any of that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it's George Santos.
Yeah. So we have to take these things with a grain of salt.
Definitely something questionable.
Like, isn't that it's a perpetual boy cried wolf thing? Because like if anybody else, if this was happening to anybody else, I would say, well, don't question that. Like, who cares if what they did? I'm like, yeah, but like when you lie the way George Santos does, it's compulsory compulsory, he's just doing it as a
Compulsive.
compulsive. He's a compulsive liar. And it doesn't surprise me really, but
what will remain to be seen is if his lies are, I can't believe that he's still serving,
I
because
mean,
that
yeah.
part of it isn't like, I can't believe they didn't immediately tell him to step down.
But investigations take time, and the fact that they needed the votes.
I know.
To make him,
which is so stupid. It's so frustrating. Like,
no ethics.
But what we will see in the future is, like, are his lies just stupid lies, or is there going to be some kind of consequence, like this ethics investigation into this marriage?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's not like I have strong opinions about marriages for
anyone
to
really
let people into the country.
Oh, the green card. Green card marriage is like, the one that he's being investigated for.
I don't really care about them, because
who cares?
Who cares?
Like, yeah, you do you.
Everything's stupid, so let people into this country. I don't care. So I don't personally care about green card marriages, but it is something that they could get him on.
Oh, and they will, because like of his quote of one saying that when it came out about his divorce, he said, "I'm very much gay." He told the New York Post this. I'm very much gay, and I'm okay with my sexuality. People change. I'm one of those people that changed. But he also said back in October, while he was running again. He was claiming already to be openly gay. Then I'm openly gay, have never had an issue with my sexual identity in the past decade.
Right.
And I can tell you and assure you, I will always be an advocate for LGBTQ folks. No, you won't.
So that was 2022.
And that was 2022. Yeah,
and
sure.
He said the past decade, which would put us around 2012.
Where he was already married to a woman. And he got divorced in 2019. Right. So, and he was married for 7 years. So yeah,
but he proposed to that other guy in 2015.
Exactly. There's a Facebook. I mean, like
so
we just read, like you heard the Facebook.
So maybe he was legitimately married to her, and then came out and started having relationships with men.
That's their defense, and that's what they'll go off of. And like, I just don't, with all of it, because you got to remember with things with in cases, especially with ethics, character witnesses. Like your character, how you present yourself is an issue. And when he has been like on dumb little lies, like they can just bring up our first 2 episodes of the Hannah Montana and the Spider-Man thing is outright easily Googleable lies. And they're like, this man has been a proven liar. Yeah. It's a joke. He's a meme. Every late night show has a version of him. Yeah. Like Colbert's is the best because it has Guillermo from from What We Do in the Shadows. Fantastic.
So funny.
But yeah, like I don't foresee them getting away with it. Like, and
this new campaign that he has he came out to say that he's running for re-election.
Oh my God.
This will be interesting to see if anything comes out. But again, what's going to be interesting is, are these lies just stupid lies that cause him to lose an election, or are they lies that are going to put him in
I think they'll cause
jail?
him to lose. I really but crazier things have happened. We all didn't think Trump was going to win, and now we're here. But people could be into it. Like in Toronto, I remember Mayor Ford. May he, I guess, rest in peace or piss, depending on the way you look at him. People loved him. He was, if you don't remember him, he was the mayor who was filmed smoking crack with some folks. He did a bunch of stuff. He was like the Trump of Toronto, and just a crazy figure. And then he eventually succumbed to health issues, and now I think his brother is either on council or mayor. They look exactly alike. They sound exactly alike. I don't think he has the same crack problem, but people loved him. They interviewed people in the streets. Like, would you vote for Mayor Ford again? I'm like, yeah, he gets things done. They're like, you don't care that he smokes crack? Nah, whatever. People smoke crack. Like, Canadians are way too chill, and that's so awesome. I'm here for it. But like, it's the same thing though. Like that same mentality, because keep in mind, this is a small congressional district.
Yeah.
Now nobody in that district likes him anymore. So that's why I think he might lose. It's not like if the nation were choosing, probably might win.
Well,
But
yeah,
like,
because it's not just
it's
like smoking
50,000
crack and it's
people.
one thing and you're being honest about it. It's
He's lying and then
is this
having to
person?
admit, yeah, who
Like-
is this guy? Anthony DeVolder? Is it George Santos? Like, it's also a thing. Like, I know Brazilians have multiple names, but he's got like 9. Like, right? Like, your dad has 4
I don't
full
know.
names or something like that. Like, it's a common thing, but he's got it's like it's George Anthony Santos DeVolder Jr. possibly. I think there might be why not Esquire. Probably claims he's a lawyer too. But I don't think he'll end up winning this. Just because I was about to say, like, there's maybe 100,000, 500,000 people in his district, and I don't foresee, like, I mean, the whole Republican Party of that district called for him to step down.
I know, and he
Like,
didn't.
and he
was
didn't,
like,
which
"Fuck
is
you, I don't care." So
like,
his mom's maiden name is DeVolder.
Okay, which
So
we're gonna get to her next week.
That's probably that is definitely in his name. And then
Okay.
his dad has Antonio in his
Okay, so Anthony
in his name,
bastardized
so
English.
it could be, yeah. I for some reason Wikipedia doesn't have his full name on here, but it would make sense if his
Because
name.
he probably keeps editing it and screwing with everybody.
True. True.
He's for sure in charge of his own wiki page, or Wiki had to. I think. Wait, didn't Wikipedia freeze his page, or was that somebody else? Oh, that might. They do that from time to time when people keep.
Well, no, we talked
putting
about
false
that
things
last
in
week
that.
or last episode, a couple episodes where there was a Wikipedia page about him being a producer on something, right? And then took it down.
Oh yeah, no, he had it on his Wikipedia page that he was the producer of Spider-Man,
Yeah, and then they had to take it down.
and on Hannah Montana. Man. Well, I should mention this now because I forgot to mention it on the last episode where we discussed him being Miss Gay Rio de
Yes.
Janeiro. He did this allegedly prior to Hannah Montana.
The drag queen.
The drag, like,
stuff?
trying to compete as a drag queen.
Yeah,
He
that makes
then
sense.
went to
2000.
Hannah Montana. I know, but like, it's just, so. But he's an adult at that point, claiming to be on Hannah Montana.
Oh,
That's
right.
what, like, and Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. He was as an adult,
Oh,
not
my
like, because,
God.
and it's a show of 13-year-olds, so he is. I don't. And in the picture, again, if you went to the CNN page, it was in our show notes. He's not. He's definitely doesn't look like a child. Then I don't know. I found that funny, and just that
Maybe he's like playing
a long con of something.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't
You can't
understand.
get inside his mind like that.
No.
I wish I could, and I wish I couldn't. Or I'm glad I can. I mean, like, it's such a character, and I don't think it's a unique moment in history where we get to observe Trump being who he is, obviously, but like George Santos, like, it has to be a case study in political science at Harvard and Yale
that's
someday.
what we're
like,
attempting to do here as
yeah,
we go through
like,
these. I think by the
Harvard,
end,
feel free to use our show free of charge.
as we go through all of these,
No, fuck you,
maybe
Harvard.
we
Give us
will
money.
find some sort of pattern or meaning.
Yeah. I don't think we're
Stay
going
tuned
to.
and find
yeah. It's to quote the Joker in The Dark Knight, it's like a dog chasing cars. He doesn't know what he's going to do when he catches one. Like, I don't think there is a method to his madness. Some men just want to watch the world burn. And I think that's George. Later. You've been listening to I Do Not Trust This Person, Season 1, The Many Lies of New York Representative George Santos. The show is hosted and produced by Alana Matos and Tim Philippi. The show is mixed and edited at Shway Media Studios in Austin, Texas. For a full list of news sources and music used in this episode, please refer to the show notes. I Do Not Trust This Person was created by Tim Philippi and is a production of Shway Media and America the Podcast Presents. For more information, please visit shwaymedia.com. Copyright 2023, all rights reserved.
This has been a production of Shui Media, all rights reserved. For more information, please visit shuimedia.com.